Gonna ring the bell here. Letting that sound flow gently through your body, the sound of the Dharma bell, bringing us to our seat. Taking a couple of long, easeful breaths, bringing in new energy and letting the old energy flow out. Settling into our seat. We might notice a variety of sounds going on around us. Summertime, windows open, people in the other room, people within earshot, objects within earshot, just letting the heart and mind notice that it is sound coming to the ear without struggling to identify it. It's just the purity of sound coming to the ear, near or far away. Sound is being known. As we settle into our Tuesday tea time group, welcoming each other, all of our different ages and ethnicities, cultural heritage and religious background, economic group and ability, sexual orientation, gender identity. Upholding our small community, committed to welcoming each other from our widest possible range of backgrounds. Coming together to study and practice for the benefit of all beings in this living earth, and taking a moment to acknowledge those indigenous peoples whose lands we are seated upon. The Willamette, Clackamas, Multnomah, Tualatin in this Portland area, the many tribes of the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde and the Confederated Tribes of the Siouxes. And knowing in whatever community we live in that there are many diverse Native peoples around us, and we respectfully acknowledge and honor all the indigenous communities, past, present, and future. Grateful for their ongoing and vibrant presence. And also within this acknowledgement, we acknowledge our long lineage of ancestors in the Sangha who have passed down the Buddha's teachings from generation to generation, as we have this privilege to be born into a human form, to be able to hear the Dhamma and practice. And the Buddha, the enlightened one, the Buddha that we're most familiar with, and all the many Buddhas before that, who actually realized enlightenment, who became free from suffering. And the Dhamma, those teachings. May we appreciate the teachings that we study, that we hear, as well as the direct experience of the Dharma in our lives, which we are engaging in right now with this present moment awareness mindfulness being present as we attend to, in the insight practice, a simple single object. That we just gently acknowledge. It could be our breath. It could be a touch point of the body sitting on the cushion or chair. Or one of the sense doors like hearing. Hearing and touching are the easiest ones to see directly, as well as, of course, attending to the breath. The breath at the nostrils or the breath at the belly. This acknowledgement of a single object that mindfulness can touch, awareness can touch, and see its arising and passing nature. So if we just gently train, ask our minds to be present with the inhale and the exhale, keeping it simple. And repeat it. Inhaling feels like this. Exhaling feels like this. And gently bringing our attention repeatedly back to the place at the breath that we are able to notice it the most, or that touch point of the seat on the cushion, or the arms or hands touching the body somewhere. As we settle into holding ourselves with kindness and ease, being present for what's arising and passing, and letting mindfulness be present and awareness attend to the changing object. And as we notice its beginning, middle, and end, we're becoming aware of impermanence, the three characteristics of existence, anicca, anatta, and dukkha. The suffering that occurs when we try to hang on, because with anicca we see the continual change, and anatta is the non-personal nature that we can touch in more closely. As we notice, if we try to hang on to something that's pleasant or push something away that's unpleasant, then that's when we might notice that suffering arises. And so just being able to attend to the single object of the breath or the touch point for a while, we can be at ease as we breathe. Breathing in, I am aware of my breath breathing in, wherever it's known, at the nostrils, the chest, or the belly rising. Pressure, warmth, coolness, whatever it is arising, it feels like this. We stay with it as long as possible. Can we follow that breath all the way through its inhale? Notice the space between the inhale and the exhale. And can we stay with the breath on the exhale and notice the release of the pressure or the warmth of the air? At first here, it's a repetition process, training the mind to be attentive to something singular as best we can, over and over and over again. This moment, this moment, this moment. breath by breath, moment by moment, we just begin again with the simple task of asking our attention to stay on a single object. The breath, the touch point, asking it to be less attentive to distractions. And what we often find are these distractions are part of the hindrances, the 5 hindrances, the defilements. They hinder us from seeing clearly. Grasping and clinging, craving, aversion, pushing away, sleepiness and tiredness, agitation in the mind, doubt that arises. And as we let ourselves go back to the single attention, our attention on the single object, usually the hindrances are not as invasive. So this helps us develop a gentle kind of concentration, a little more spaciousness in the heart and mind. And if we find our attention wandering, attending to something else, we can be aware in that moment, just waking up in that moment and noticing what's happening. Awareness is present. Waking up in that moment is a moment of wakefulness, a moment of awareness. And we string these moments together, one mindful moment at a time. Bringing joy to the heart and mind because of that waking moment. And we can go back to the breath or the touch point. Or we can open up a little more spaciously to what's happening in the field of our body awareness. Sitting in spaciousness, mindful awareness present, being attentive to what arises, noticing how long it stays and when it passes. That practice of insight, of seeing clearly, arising and falling, arising and falling, arising and falling. The impermanent nature of all conditioned things that arise, that we have no control over. But we have this gift of mindfulness, awareness to be present, to notice whether we might think that it's pleasant or we might think that it's unpleasant, or maybe we can't tell. That adds Vedana, the awareness of the senses, the sensations of feeling, pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral, as the Buddha described, which helps us remove ourselves a little bit more from the intensity of thought patterns we might be following, or places in the body that are calling our attention. We just have this moment of mindful awareness before the action, of noticing pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, before the action of how we think about it, or opinions that we have about what's arising in the mind. The mind door is just one more sense door. Thoughts arise and pass away. Just like hearing comes to the ears, arrives and passes away. And we can notice sometimes how important we think our thoughts are compared to the other sense doors. We just notice, where is our awareness? What is the attitude of the mind right now? If we are employing the use of the more open awareness, just being with, settling within the cauldron of our body, heart, and mind, letting our attention land on what arises, this continuity of practice on changing objects. Is also a way of bringing on samatha, of bringing on a concentration that creates spaciousness, openness. Or perhaps if we're wandering too much, we let our attention go back to the breath or the touch point. And we just carry on like this, moment after moment, being aware of what's arising, noticing its impermanent nature, its passing away, its non-personal nature. This is what brings us insight into the three characteristics. And we also may notice what happens next in the heart and mind. And can we let go of something that might be unskillful? And can we incline the heart and mind toward something more skillful? Loving kindness, compassion, awareness, mindfulness, joy, equanimity. letting go of what doesn't serve. And if we find our attention wandering, we can always gently stand up in place or do mindful walking in the room where we are, all with mindfulness present. We're not stuck in this position. This position just allows us the opportunity to have less stimulus as we attend to moment awareness. But in the standing practice, we can notice our feet on the floor, the pressure, warmth, coolness. In the walking practice, we can just slowly notice lifting, moving, and placing of each foot, being aware of the sensations in the body from the waist down. So that we can encourage ourselves to be more present in the practice. If tiredness arises, we can open our eyes a little and let light in. If there's too much energy in the mind, we can take a few nice, long, slower breaths. And always just beginning again. Noticing what's happening in the present moment. Letting that reflective awareness be present. Just training and learning to do this practice of steadying our attention, developing simple, receptive awareness. Resting in a spacious and compassionate sphere of awareness that is knowing what's happening, but not attached. So that what we're responding to is our direct experience. As soon as we notice ourselves spacing out or spacing in, we just begin again, kindly and at ease, without judgment, just beginning again. Start where we are, noticing what's in our field of awareness and holding ourselves with gentleness, with kindness. Letting this practice of metta and karuna, two of the best emotions to have, as Ayakema says, the part of the Brahma Viharas. We hold ourselves gently, letting our heart energy get activated however we can. Even if we don't feel it, we can find a few words or phrases or a sense of goodwill and well-wishing to ourselves, having compassion when things are challenging, wishing ourselves to be at ease, free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And we are learning through this direct experience that some of that has to do with craving and clinging, hanging on to something the way we want it, or pushing away something we don't want. And we can see directly, we can experience directly what happens when that craving arises and the suffering that ensues in the mind. And when we apply our mindfulness and our investigation, we can see that it is not personal. We can't hang on to anything. And so may we be at ease with this process. Alert, aware, interested, and at ease as we include others in our kindness and compassion. A close friend, a teacher, a benefactor, someone for whom it's easy to have goodwill and kindness toward. May you be at ease. May you have happiness and the causes of happiness. And as we nurture this kindness and compassion, may we include others in this cauldron of our heart, mind, body continuum, to have those that we don't know. Maybe some of our neighbors close by in our neighborhood. Or maybe we expand this circle to those that we see online for something that we're attending, or in person out on the street. Everyone wishes to be happy, to be free from harm, safe and protected, and have ease. May we hold them with kindness and compassion. May we let this sense of ease in our hearts include others unknown to us, seen and unseen, those known and unknown, enlightened and unenlightened, near and far away, below the earth's surfaces, so many beings. And on the earth's surface, those that crawl and walk with 2 legs and 4 legs and multiple legs and hundreds of legs, those beings that we might not like so much, as well as the beings that we do like. May all beings be free from harm, safe and protected, and have ease and well-being. Those who are in suffering, so much suffering in the world right now. May we hold all beings in suffering in the kindness of our hearts, with compassion and equanimity to not fall into extremes ourselves. And those that are in great joy, holding them in our hearts. And those that are enlightened and those that are unenlightened. May all beings everywhere be free from harm, safe and protected, and have happiness and the causes of happiness as we include them in our purifying mind states and hearts. Anicca Vata Sankara Upadavaya Domino Upakitawa Meruchanti Te Sam Vipasamo Sukho. All conditioned things are subject to impermanence. They arise and pass away. And seeing this clearly with mindfulness brings the greatest happiness. And that happiness is peace. Thank you for your practice. May you really realize the joy that it brings each other in our circle here, as well as it touches the lives of everyone that we come into contact with, that the merit of this practice benefits all sentient beings. Thank you.